Hey everyone, welcome to the Charizza podcast where we talk all things jewelry. Today's guest is Harris Botnick. He's one of the owners at Worthmore Jewelers in Atlanta, Georgia. They have one of the coolest jewelry stores I've ever been to. It's a really, really unique experience, and Harris is one of the brainchilds behind that. And so we get to talk to him for a while about what makes their experience unique, some of the really interesting things that they're doing there, and we talk about the jewelry buying experience in general coming into 2024 and 2025 and what to look forward to in the future. So we're really excited to have you. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and let's dive right in.
Okay, so there's the idea of custom design and the idea of experience, in the store. And so we want to break that down a little bit. And I want to talk about custom design, and I want to talk about experience in a store. And I want to talk about what that means for people. And I guess maybe just to get the conversation started, Harris, you don't have to go into detail or whatever, but can you talk a little bit about what building an experience in a store kind of means to you guys? Like, what's your philosophy behind it?
Yeah. I think we all know it's all about the experience today. You can buy what we do online. What we say in our stores, we're actually in the hospitality business. We just happen to have a cool product to go with it. So what we are really about is the experience. We want it to be fun. We want it to be different. We want it to be exciting. We want it to be interactive. We want to be there to let the consumer know number one, we're listening to them. We're going to have a good time with it. And we're going to end up with a customer for life, but also a piece of jewelry that is exactly what they wanted. Not something that's close to what they wanted, not something that our salespeople wanted to push on them, but that they got exactly what they wanted and hopefully more than they ever imagined.
I really like the hospitality thing. That's pretty good. I really like that. So I guess, and something too, I just want to say right off the top, whenever the staff, because I think that's kind of the main thing with the experience. So there's two parts of the experience. There's your stores, there's the environment and everything. And just regarding those, I think you have some of the coolest stores, like the Midtown store obviously is like up next to that botanical garden. It's in that really cool, like reformed manufacturing, like huge building or whatever. It's really cool inside. Decatur obviously is that cool, like historic downtown thing. It's like really fun. And like Neil, I showed you a picture of the decorations, how they painted like the outside of the store and all that is like wicked, like really cool. So there's the actual environment. Yeah, of course. There's the actual environment of the store, and that's one thing. So just coming in and you're comfortable being in there. But then there's the personality of the store, and it's the people that really create that. And I would love to hear your thoughts on how, like, you get people, how you hire people, like what you look for in your people, because your people particularly, and I'm thinking of, Carrie, Christina, Laura, like just everyone. Oh yeah, Dan, especially Dan. They're real people. And it seems like you, more than a lot of stores, let their personalities be the main thing. Is that like a big thing?
Yeah, we have always felt, even from day one when we had our first employee, that we understood our people are a projection of us, and that's going to be what helps us to grow, and that's what's going to make our customers feel special is the person that they're getting to work with. So we've always sort of embraced, like, what we say is we want to hire nice. We can train the rest. We can teach you jewelry. We can teach you sales techniques and everything, but you can't teach nice. Either somebody is nice in their heart, or they're just not nice. They can fake it for a little while. One of them is dancing in the background now. But the truth ends up showing its ugly face. And when they're not a nice person, it ends up coming across to their coworkers, to our vendors, to our clients. So we have always felt, really from day one, most people will say the customer's the most important, or the vendor's the most important. And, not to say that you guys aren't important, all the other vendors in the industry, but our staff is our most important asset, not our jewelry. We feel that we do have the coolest jewelry around. We do feel that we put a lot of thought into the products that we're carrying. We do feel that we display it differently. Everything about it, everything that we try to do outside the box. When we started 30 years ago, there was no marketing to same-sex couples. We were going to our vendors saying, hey, we need this type of marketing. This is the market. We want to be all-inclusive to go after everybody. And we got a lot of pushback at the time. Now there's obviously lots of people doing it. When we first opened, nobody had concrete painted floors in their jewelry stores. We did that. We wanted to shine and be different in those aspects. But again, without the right people behind the counter to make the experience special, it's all irrelevant. Best products in the world, best prices in the world, best vendors in the world, best customers in the world. None of it works without the best team in the world. So I have told our staff year after year, meeting after meeting, that the way they are, if there was a game show for sales staff in retail stores that could compete against each other, I will put our crew up against anybody's, and they will win for sure. They are very special. It's a very diverse background of people. It's a very diverse age range. Everything about it is diverse, and that's our customer base. Our customer base is a diverse customer base, so we want to be able to appeal to everybody.
Yeah, I really like that. It's really good. When you hired you do have a very diverse thing, and I think the same-sex couple thing is really important. And I actually had a conversation with one of your staff members not that long ago about inclusiveness in your marketing, in your products, and in the custom design process. And I mean, it's just such an important component. They feel, I mean, it's one thing talking to you, but talking to them too, and hearing it from them, and they so believe that, and they're so passionate about that. And creating like a safe space for that, for those, all of that to happen, and for that custom jewelry to be made, and everything. And they have a place to go and feel safe and everything. And y'all really do a really good job.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. What, what game show would you guys win? Is this a Jeopardy?
I was saying, if there was a game show, best jewelry crew, would sort of be a survival type thing of jewelry stores. We would put different staffs up against different staffs and see who could handle a big crowd all day the longest, who could perform the best, who could close the best. All of those things, my crew would win for sure.
We should totally do that. We should.
That would be
We should have a game show.
The original idea came from, I wanted to do one, and I hope you can edit this, but I wanted to do one with the post office, and it was going to be called Going Postal, and it would be post office employees in a real retail environment, to where they had to keep up with us in our store. They couldn't go on break when there was a line of people. They had to carry more than one box at a time. They had to smile. They had to make the people feel welcome when they came, and that they appreciated them being there to bring them their paycheck, essentially.
Wow, shots fired at the USPS. Yeah, we're going to edit all that out. Yeah, thanks. Half the podcast is gone.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
That's good. Yeah, dude, I've been trying to get a store to let us come in and film. So my big thing, I think we've talked about this before, Harris, maybe, but my big thing, dude, I swear, if we could have a reality show that was like inside a jewelry store, just the personalities, the customers, the deadlines, like the romance, the good stuff. It's all, a lot of it's really, really good and really positive, but also just the craziness that happens behind the scenes. It would be so much bigger than the Kardashians, than Love is Blind, than any of them. It would be the craziest thing. But everyone's all talk. And so
we have had some soft pitches of that years ago, but we figured there was too much internal stuff that we don't want to encourage any internal takedowns or fights or hair pulling just in ratings. But we were working on. I'll tell you what we can work on. And again, this is side chatter. We were working on a show like what was the fashion show where they're sewing stuff? Project Runway, but for jewelry.
Yeah.
So that's what we can work on together.
That's a good idea.
Or Chop.
Our Chop but it'd be for jewelers. Chopped for jewelers, Project Runway. Yes. So we had a guy approach us to take that on, and we worked on it for a little while, and then just sort of lost steam. But for
Will
really for
you-
national TV, for people to see what goes on in the jewelry stores, what the design process is, yeah, we always sort of laugh that people just think this beautiful jewelry appears in the showcase. You know, they have no idea what you guys, as our vendors and designers, went through, what the jewelers are doing, bending up their fingers, catching stuff on fire, cracking a stone here and there. To us then, you know, getting it in, shining it up, gift wrapping it, and getting to present it to the happy smiley faces. So it really is something. So that's our next project with you guys.
Dude,
We would-
we'll get a film
Like,
crew.
in all seriousness, we would love to work on something like that. So Joseph and I talk constantly about, I think that there's a big, so, we talk about marketing in the industry, and everybody talks about, filling the gap that De Beers left when they kind of step back, and how do we connect with a new generation of consumers and all this stuff. And young people don't want jewelry or don't want diamonds or whatever. But so much of the reason for that is because we're not, like, marketing is not placing ads on TV or posters or whatever and saying, hey, this is available for, $4.99 or whatever. That's just an ad. How do you connect with consumers, especially young consumers, but probably everybody? And so what we talk about is, what happened in food for the last 20 years. People are watching food shows, like they're watching cooking shows constantly. And it's just, they've opened up the kitchen and invited people in, and people are now watching professional chefs cook.
Yep.
And those people that are on YouTube are now opening restaurants, right? And people want to go there. And like, my 12-year-old son has favorite chefs and places he wants to go in different cities. And it's like, he's connected to it. And we just, as jewelers, it's such an amazing, interesting, glamorous product, but there's no connection. We're kind of like keeping it a secret. And we just lock it up in the showcase. We'll like literally lock all the joy up into a showcase, lock up all the joy, and tell people not to touch it.
Yeah.
So I think, like, having a show is kind of educating people, inviting people in to see, like, exactly what you said, like, what actually happens. How is this designed? How is it made?
Yep. So we have the guy who pitched it to us is a producer, and that was his vision. Basically, you would have whatever 4 to 6 jewelers that would compete. There would be different projects. It might be you have to go find all your material at whatever Goodwill or secondhand or antique stores, or you're given the material to do it, or you have to do this sand casting. You have to hand carve the wax. You can't cat it. Whatever the steps are. But to take jewelers from all different disciplines and put them together from the whole process of sourcing the stone, possibly, to the finished product, and then the things that go wrong, in it. I mean, waxes blow up, you got to recast, stones chip. Jewelers are very temperamental. They're great on screen because they're cussing and throwing stuff. So, it all makes great. It really is a winning recipe. But like you're saying, Neil, it gets the viewer who appreciates the sparkly things, but has no idea. I mean, my wife and I, we don't cook at all, but we like chop. We like watching that craziness in a kitchen and that competition. And it would be the same thing, but in jewelry. We talked to JCK. We did some interviews on camera with Yancy when she was in charge. And basically we pitched to JCK, hey, if we did this, if it was a new jeweler, basically with JCK as the winner of the show, give them a booth at Las Vegas. So that could sort of be the ending result, and they were totally into it. We soft talked to Scholar about decking out the shops. Again, very soft talk. They were open for more consideration. The advertising involvement for it, including people like you guys, has, the custom part. It really, I think it has legs. So I know we're very sidetracked from what this started as, but we can pick up a third call after this one. But my guy is still very interested in it. He wanted Jerry and I to sort of host it because we sort of look at things differently, the way that we buy and the way that we look at merchandise. So we would also be sitting down with the jewelers along the way, being like, no, you're not getting the concept, or you are getting it, or push this a little bit. So, so a little bit of mentor coaching for TV's sakes, whether they needed it or not along the way, and then the finished product.
Which of you is going to be
we will.
Ramsay personality?
The what?
Which of you is going to be the Gordon Ramsay personality?
Yeah.
Who's going to be yelling at
We'll
everyone?
see. That can go back and forth. That can go back and forth. We can both play the role of that crazy throwing stuff.
You gotta be, yeah. Wow, that is an amazing idea. I would watch that. And I think that's the point. I mean,
yeah,
we all watch.
There's that forged in fire, which is knife making. That's a very small percentage of people blown away, glass blowing. But jewelry, you've got the cool aspect for men, you've got the pretty aspect for women. I mean, everything ties in, all ages. And another thing that we've spoken about is, another thing that we're working on with Zine and Jewelers Mutual is how to get new people into our industry, how to keep our pipelines full. I mean, and Neil, you can't find that next gen young guy who gets customer service, who's willing to be a road warrior. So we're saying, and it's the wrong word, but we haven't come up with a better word, but how do we make our industry look sexy? How do we make it look appealing? How do we let people know, hey, you know what? We need accountants. We need bookkeepers. We need HR. We need jewelers. We need salespeople. It's not just being a salesperson standing behind a counter, designers, all the different aspects of our industry, which make it so special. Our industry is not doing a good job of letting people know that we exist. We're not getting into the schools. We're not talking to people with second careers, all of these things that, again, just go on and on. The show would obviously also help that whole aspect of it.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, I think we talked about this the other day. So, like, if you said to somebody, hey, do you want to be a jeweler? So first of all, most people wouldn't say no to that. Like, it's not appealing, because it is. I mean, a lot of people would be like, wow, that would be so cool. Gold, diamonds, stone, gemstones, all this stuff. A lot of people are definitely attracted to that. I think the reaction to me is like, I was at an airport recently and somebody asked me, hey, what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm in jewelry. And she just looked at me and paused and didn't know what to say for like 10 seconds. And it's like the same as saying you're an international spy. It's like, if you ask somebody, hey, I want to be a jeweler, it would be like, well, between that and being an international spy, like, I don't know where to start.
Right.
Right. Yeah. It's like, so I think, like, the problem, like, the biggest part of the problem is people just don't know what it is or where it is or how to start or any of that. And so I think it's more than anything. I think that the industry is appealing as it is. I think it's just opening up the windows just a little bit and being like, hey, this is how it works. This is what we do.
Yeah.
I think people would flood in. I mean, I think.
And there's so many.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we're doing the show then, right?
We're doing the show.
All right.
I'm going to hound you. I'm not letting this go.
All right. I'm going to send you
I'm
going to send you the deck. I mean, I'm also serious. We put it to sleep before COVID just because we weren't getting any traction. But I will send you the deck that the producer who approached us to be involved in it did. It's definitely outdated, possibly, but it'll give you the general feeling.
Please, yeah. Would love to see that.
Dude, you have no idea how specifically on track that is with like every conversation we've had over the last 4 months between myself.
And I think it's possible, and it's so possible. I have a guy in town here. He started the largest, what the proper term would be, but it's a car show, but it's everybody can come, everybody's welcome. But it's thousands of cars the first one Sunday a month, and he actually started buying his own time on TV and started a TV show around it, and then he got picked up. I think Fox Sports actually bought it and picked it up.
What?
But Hulu, that's
Exactly,
irrelevant, you know.
Yeah.
Streaming a podcast to start.
It could
Yeah.
be, yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's start on YouTube or podcast or any of that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just
Cheers.
watched the show on. They've got like yachts. They've got one on like yachts or something. I think now I'm like obsessed with it now. It's just drama on
Yeah.
people that work on a yacht. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
really I can't put it. I can't stop watching. So I think we're
Good.
we're good. We're in it here. So
All right.
yeah, we're good.
So I'm glad
All right.
we stuck to your script today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I put so much effort into that, so I'm glad you guys read it to begin with. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, no. So all right. Well, we've got a couple other things, and then we'll get off topic again here. We need to talk about so we've got experience, right? I think we all kind of agree that's the most important thing, especially moving forward. But so if you're a traditional store already and you haven't cared about experience up until today, you can still rebrand and do all this stuff. It's going to be the most important thing moving forward. Now, question for you, and this is a little bit of we've talked a lot about what the future of a store looks like physically and what it is, and what do you see changing in the next 5 years, 10 years? Like how do you see the experience adjusting, moving forward? Like what does that look like to you?
Yeah. So I think if you would have asked that question to a lot of our industry 8 years ago, they would have felt more jewelry stores would be going away, that, everybody was scared of the internet and seeing it as that's going to take away our brick and mortars. And in fact, what we have experienced is who are the big online guys? What are they doing now? They're opening stores because they've seen, yes, you can sell this stuff online, but to get the higher ticket items sold, you need that experience still. So you need the in-store experience. So the other thing we focus on is really, we now are making our first impression twice. You used to have one chance to make a first impression. You now have 2 times to make a first impression. One time, your guy is online doing all the research, deciding where they're going to shop. And that might come from Google reviews, that might come from Reddit, that might come from a number of different sites where they're doing their research. And then they have an impression of you. And then they're going to walk in your store. You just have to make sure that your store is in fact matching the first impression that they got online. So your second first impression is consistent with what they got online. So for us, what does that mean? That means that we have a friendly security guard at the door. Our guards talk to people. Our guards are very visual. They are armed guards. They do wear vests. They do wear cameras, but they're not intimidating in our opinion. We tell them, we want you to interact with customers. We don't want you sitting in the corner looking menacing. We want you to be part of it. Our customers that are here love them. And we've had Google reviews written about our guards. We've had them buy them holiday gifts because they're such a part of our family. So, from that to our people greeting them immediately when they walk in the store, which, internally we're doing for security. We want them to know when they're 5 steps in the door, we see them. We might be yelling across the store, hello, or welcome to Worthmore, but we want to let them know we're happy you're here. Number one, you're valuable. You matter to us. For the bad guy, we want them to know, we know you're here. We saw you walk in the door. You're in the wrong place to come in here and try to case us. So it really is a win-win. The looks of our stores are very unique. They're not what I call a dark wood store. We are not going for the snob appeal approach. That's our choice. Not that that's a wrong approach. Everybody in our industry, there's so many niches that we can all follow. We just have to make sure that I think that we're welcoming, that our staff is greeting the people, that they're greeting them kindly, that the customer feels welcome. There's so many stores and restaurants and businesses that you walk in today. And I went down to the bank today, and the guy couldn't have had a more unhappy look on his face. I was ceiling tile. And because he had such a miserable look on his face. You cannot have that. Have so many places they can spend their money. We are a luxury item. So we cannot take for granted that people are going to just buy from you because they need a diamond ring or they need an anniversary gift or a graduation gift, whatever it may be. We have to make them feel appreciated, and that's where the experience comes in. So whether it's offering any type of certain beverage, whether it's just being welcoming, kind to them, attentive to them, listening to them, making them feel valuable. The look of your store, of course, can in line with your marketing, whatever that may be. Again, ours is a little further out there. We like to push the envelope. When you walk in, or people are proudly displaying tattoos. They do have different color hair. They do have piercings. I've had many jewelers in the past ask me, what do you do when you hire somebody that looks like that? I'm like, I tell them to wear short sleeves. That's their personality. We want people to know that you're coming into an artistic environment. We're not a sterile environment. So we want it to be fun. We want it to be exciting. And I enjoy going back and reading our reviews because I know that we are getting that across to our customers in the way that they compliment us and they see what is important to them. And then my people, our crew, also sees, hey, you know what? This did matter to that person. I did make a difference. We've had Dan, as you mentioned, our Decatur store. He actually married a couple where the store that he's in is on a town square. And he actually got ordained because they liked him so much. He actually performed their wedding ceremony on the square. Of our people, we've invited to numerous weddings of our clients. One of the ladies was just asked to be a bridesmaid from a couple that she met while designing their rings. So really the relationship part of our business is so special, and that we get to deal with personal things that are creating stories that are going to be passed down. So, we're our attitude is more breaking traditions and making memories because of the way that we do things, but that's not everyone's. But again, having your message, making sure your message is consistent on all fronts, and not taking anything for granted any day of the week. Business today, you can't afford that. Again, every time the customer walks in, we sort of focus on our front. Our showroom floor is our stage. That's our Broadway. We're on there to reform customers. Who knows what they went through to get to your store? Did they get a flat tire? Were they stuck in traffic? Was somebody rude to them in the parking lot? Did their boss chew them out? Did they have a fight before they left the house? Whatever it is, our job is to make sure when they're leaving this store, when they're walking out our front door, they're leaving with a smile on their face.
That's incredible. And something too about that last thing you said that really strikes me, or that I think about a lot with our industry, and it's easy to forget about. It's one thing to try to change someone's day. Oh, they've been yelled at by their boss, like you said. You don't know what they got through to get to your store. And you want to make that day so good for them when they walk in your store. But, something too, a lot of the purchases, in fact, most of the purchases that the consumers make with us are some of the most important things they'll ever buy in their entire lives. They mean the most to them than anything else that they will buy. They will spend their money in your store on the most important things. And that is so serious. And it's such a unique opportunity. We're not selling cars. We're making these memories. You have people that are getting ordained and being in their weddings and stuff. I mean, those people are extending their super intimate moments to your staff because of how that was the side bundle house are so important. And I think that's so cool. And regarding the online shop thing, I wanted to talk about the difference between, you actually put it a different way than I was going to put it. Someone coming into your store, what do they know beforehand? And so I think it's very common to think about it as an educated person. How are they educated by online? 4C's, lab grown is bad, Earth Fine's bad, everything's overpriced, everything sucks. It's a used car salesman situation inside every store. Everything's locked up in a showcase, sterile lighting, etc. And then, but you use the word impression, which I think is probably a better way of putting it. But what do you see? What do you see people coming in educated or the impression that they have about our industry right now? Like, what is that looking like when people are coming into you?
For me, I truly don't think that's changed over as long as I've been in the business, which is 37-ish years. I think that, there's always those people that think possibly the jeweler's taking advantage of them. There's always the people that think that these crazy margins are being made, diamonds are bad, all of these things. I think that's always been there. And then I think there is the true education of, let's say, the engagement ring shopper. But let's go back to the things that have always been there. So, we also try to be relevant in our communities. So we try to see what's going on in our communities, and whether that community is the community that we serve here in town by selling jewelry, or whether that's our jewelry community. So going back now probably 28 years ago, one of our ladies had gotten back from doing an internship with a watch company in Germany, and she got back and said, "Hey, what do you know about Konzlig diamonds?" And again, placed it 30 years ago. I said, I don't know what that phrase means. Blood diamonds wasn't even a word. The movie wasn't close to being made at the time. Right. And she gave me a little bit of education. I did some research on my end, and I saw right away, I was like, hey, we need to get on board with this right away and let people know we are against this. There was no Kimberly process. We sort of wrote out our own thing for our dealers to say, hey, we want to know you're getting diamonds through legitimate sources. Yeah, we want to know the best way possible that that we can then in turn in confidence be able to sell that. We started with reclaimed metal years ago. We decided one show we were going to go to a show and find a wedding band company, a fashion company, and one other company doing recycled metals. Again, at the time, it wasn't a catchphrase in our industry, but we felt like it was something that was important to us. We wanted to be able to convey to our customers and put that out there, that we know that the process that are being used for refining metals, that less earth's being moved, that if earth is being moved, that the land's being reclaimed afterwards, that these things are being done. And we found a lot of people who said, yeah, wedding band companies, I'm melting the gold. I do trade-ins all the time, but we're like, no, we need to know 100% of it is. So again, I think our stores, our industry's responsibility is looking for things that could possibly affect our world, our industry, our group in a positive way, and seeing how could we be part of that in advance before possibly they come to be a thing. When I first started telling our customers about reclaimed jewelry, that we were getting into it, they were looking at me like we were going to have this crazy, ugly hippie jewelry. And I'm like, no, it's going to be the same ring you're talking about. We're just going to, yes, there's a lot of bad things that happen with mining in different countries, but there's also a lot of good things that happen with mining in different countries. We bring things to those places that they would not have had before. And I think that's a part that is overshadowed. So being able to present that in a positive light also helps. Education, I think, is a different thing. I think that's, the 4 C's, as you said. What do you know? We've noticed now more than any that we really don't get into the education as much as we used to, because there has been already so much research done online. I mean, believe me, we all know the first time they walk into a store and they said, no, I don't know anything about it. That's just not the truth anymore. They have done their research and it tends to come out. And bottom line is you can spend hours on going over all of that and educate the customer to the hilt. And then what do? They go online and buy because they think they understood it better than you. Which, what I always tell people is like, what? I understand the fundamentals of building a house, but no way am I going to build a house that I'm going to live in because it's not going to stand up. Same thing, you might understand the basic fundamentals of the 4 C's, but you're not going to be able to pick the prettiest diamond from a piece of paper or online. That's what we're here for. We're here to go through and sort all those diamonds for you to make sure that we're picking the prettiest diamond for you at the best price possible. So what we've started to focus on really is we're selling love, we're selling emotion, we're selling beauty. If you want to know about all the technical aspects, believe me, my people can tell you all those. Our diplomas, we proudly display them on the wall from AGS or from GIA. We have more diplomas than most stores will have hanging. But again, getting all that technical aspect takes away the romance. We're in the romance business. Some people need to feel empowered with knowledge, but sometimes the knowledge can lead them down the wrong path because they don't really fully have an understanding. None of us learned what we know in this industry by sitting through one seminar. It just didn't happen. I mean, we were the first dealer in Georgia to do lab grown diamonds. Nobody else was doing them. We were approached by a big grower years ago. We said, we don't understand it enough. Send down a trainer, educate us. If our staff gets on board, then we're on board. And that afternoon, they started selling lab-grown diamonds, and we were having to explain them to everybody. Nobody walking in knew what they were. Now, obviously, the majority of people do. And, there's a whole nother podcast, whether it's good or bad for the industry. We won't get into that on this one. We do see a rise, though, again, just as a side note, we see Earth coming back strong. As a plus side because of lab, because people are buying such big lab stones, our Earth sales, the sizes are increasing because even though those guys, those couples, those women who want Earth, they still are sitting next to their friend with the lab free 5 carat on. They still want a big stone. So, one thing we've spoken about it is those stories, whether it's a story of conveying the designer who made this piece to the recipient, whether it's a story of the design process with their significant other that they went through to make the piece for the recipient, whether it's the story of, I had a lady in today that was remaking something that she got for her bat mitzvah, I think she said. She had it all this time. She's my age range, and she was remaking it, and she couldn't have been more ecstatic to give this special piece that she's had for years in a drawer that had a lot of meaning to her, but she felt like it was outdated, to give it new life. So, I think that is something that, again, it's just not a piece that shows up in a box. It does have meaning to it. And one of our crew members said years ago, we just get to help people celebrate stuff. It might be a wedding, it might be a promotion, it might be a divorce they're happy they're getting, whatever it is, but we're celebrating things with pieces that have meaning and the pieces that live on. And every time they touch them or feel them, that if we've done our job as a jeweler, that piece keeps that same energy and is able to be conveyed for years and years and years. And then even to the point where that person might have a child and they see the parent wearing the piece, that piece becomes special to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's like so easy to forget all that when we're just, shipping rings and plastic poly bags or whatever.
Yes.
But it's so important to somebody. Maybe the most important thing or one of the most important things in their life or tokens that they have in their life. That symbolism. I had a question about, so when you do custom, right, like you said, there's a story of designing the symbolism and designing something for a significant other, and that process is quite engaging. When somebody comes in to browse, and it's not custom, they're browsing your collection. How do you, so, you talked about being nice, greeting and connecting. So there's kind of human aspect of the relationship aspect to it. Other than that, how do you engage that customer? So you mentioned a couple of things. You talked about the story of the designer, and you mentioned the displays. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and any other things that you like? How do you engage them?
So after your initial greeting, so truly past the initial engagement into, hey, let's get into jewelry while you're here. And I think the thing is remembering, even if people say, oh, I'm just wasting time. I don't really need any jewelry. I just wanted to walk through. My wife's getting her hair done down the street, whatever. They still made a decision to walk into your store. We didn't cold call them. We didn't knock on their door. There was something about it that made them walk into our store. So, we want to have a few choice pieces in every showcase. So whatever showcase we might be standing behind at the moment they walk in, after we've had our initial greeting, told them we love their purse they're carrying, shoes, their hair, whatever it is, have some interaction with them, let them know who we are, let them see that we are friendly and it's fine to talk. They don't need to be intimidated to be here, because it is, it's intimidating walking into a jewelry store. Crazy, all this craziness. So we have to overcome that in a matter of seconds with the customer. But to answer your question, we want to open up the showcase as fast as possible and let a customer touch a piece of jewelry. Because I think one thing that we can easily forget in our industry is getting to hold an expensive piece of jewelry, and expensive can mean different things to different people, is pretty special. Again, understanding it, but again, and we have to, of course, take security into consideration for that. So we have to know where we are in the store, being able to see how possibly the person's feet might be facing what direction. So getting past all the security things that the store should be trained to do. In other words, making sure your item ain't going to be snatched and run with. Getting to the point. If you're confident in that, and you have the right procedures in place, getting to touch a piece of jewelry, whether it's, for some people it might be a 300, for some people it might be a 3,000, for other people it might be a 30,000. To let them feel how special that is to hold that piece of jewelry. I promise you, if they don't buy that day, they're going to go tell somebody about their experience in your store. I can't believe it. I got to do this, or, whatever it may be. So you're letting that person, it's sort of accomplishing two things, in my opinion. You're letting them see, I think this piece is for you. If let's just say if somebody young and they've never held something worth $5,000 in their hand, I'm letting them hold a $5,000 ring or a $10,000 ring. I'm looking at you thinking, yeah, you can afford this, which typically is the opposite. I think most stores that you walk in today, like myself, when I walk in a store, people could care less. They don't want to help you. Some certain stores will look at certain people and feel, this is just a waste of time. I'm not going to give them any service. I'm not going to show them anything. So I think engaging everybody that walks in the store in the same way, making them feel special, letting them feel what we do. And that's, we do have a tactile product. Try this on, put it on, and pull down the mirror, let them see themselves in the mirror. And typically you'll see a little bit of a smile, and then point out that smile. And when you point out that smile, only one thing happens. The smile gets bigger. So, they knew this was special. So to recap it in a short way, letting them touch and feel and be part of our world.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Think about that every day.
What do you think
And
about?
then, so whenever we get a chance to, as long as they're not knee deep in something, we try to pull them out occasionally too, to let them see the customer how happy they were with this special piece that they were nervous to leave with us in the first place, because it is, as you said, Neil, it's powerful. It's cool.
Yeah.
We're working through that now. Neil, we talked about this a while ago. We're sort of in the same boat. Like, we have all these guys, or there's hundreds of these people that are casting and polishing and filing and just doing everything, the CAD designs, all this stuff, and they see a part of it.
I don't want to start the
part
ones.
of the process, but they don't get to see how important it
You
was
would-
at the end. Like, they don't get to know that Sarah and Travis
Who's
ended up,
those specifics?
getting their dream. They cried at their wedding because of how pretty the rings are, or
Pretty
that
much.
Yep.
the necklace that symbolized, this bar mitzvah just got recreated, and she just looks at it every single day, and it's just this perfect thing that
No.
brings her excitement. We're in this world where it's like the next, it's task oriented and everything, and so we're trying to figure out ways to introduce those stories to our Neil's employees, the employees of Shaw, at the various levels, to get them more inspired and more a part of it, and to, they already care a lot. But just, like you said, I mean, I think people care way more when they can see how fulfilling and what the good that their work is getting, is bringing people. Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're trying to do the
And,
same thing.
yeah, for the opposite side of that, one of the things we like about Shaw is that, the tools y'all give us to this, and actually with that over the holidays, y'all did, I think, 4 name necklaces for us for daughters. They're each daughter's initial, the first initial of each one makes up the word Jammin', which is what they call the sisters. The 4 sisters call themselves Jammin'. It's the first initial of each. Y'all did necklaces. The first letter of each of their name of that one was Diamond. But when I gave the mom the cards and went over the process, she couldn't believe it. I mean, I thought she was going to start crying in the store. And then she immediately, after they gave the gifts, she said at their Christmas, she actually pulled out her phone and wanted to show her daughters, who are adults now, what steps she went through. Because, it made her look good too. But it really, it takes this meeting. We do process with Sissy's Law Cabin, started a sales portion. What's JSA? Jewelry Sales Academy. I get it confused with Jewelry Security Alliance, but Jewelry Sales Academy injection, establishing that interaction and that bonding with the customer the whole time. You're establishing value. You're letting them see without even talking about dollars. You're in the right place. You read our reviews. You came in here for a reason. You see our awards on the wall. You see the care. You see the uniqueness of our employees. You see that our jewelry doesn't look like everybody else's. So obviously we're not buying the same thing that all these giant chain stores are. So by the time we're ready to close, it's rare that we get a price objection. I'm not saying that we don't get somebody making sure they're getting the best price, which is human nature, and I have no problem with and respect it. I want to make sure I'm getting the best price in things. It's not I'm not buying thing. You're out of my price range. We've done a good job up to that point. So I think the other thing stores need to remember is that experience also makes sure clothes CSR.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, when you're out there being so forward and so aggressive about making sure that the gold is recycled and that all of your designers are testing all the diamonds, all that responsibility, the Kimberly processes, you're one of the first people to even do that. You're going so aggressively in that direction of verifying what proof can you give me, what can we do. All these designers, they have to be able to tell you your story. How are you producing it? How ethically is it being done and stuff? I mean, when I, as a consumer, when I hear all of that, you guys care more than I do. I mean, you guys care more than the consumer. And that's how it should be. They should walk in and they should understand that you're doing all the work, that you care about this stuff being the best possible quality and sourcing that it can be. And so that probably dissipates a lot of the defensive walls, I guess.
Yeah, I think it certainly all communicates for sure.
Yeah.
I think that when you build that value into it, both by engaging them in the store and also opening up that process and kind of showing them like, here's what went into it. I mean, like you said, I think that's the difference between paying a little bit less and being and feeling like they paid too much versus paying more and feeling like they got an amazing value. Like,
absolutely.
They'd rather pay more and feel like, wow, what an incredible, how many people were involved in this and how much care went into producing this, specifically for them.
Absolutely.
What, Harris, I've got a question for you. Do you think, would your customers, if they had the chance, if they got an email notification and said, hey, click this link Thursday, February 18th at 2:15 a.m. in the morning, and you'll have a live view of your stones being set on your engagement ring, or something like that. You'll see your ring being polished, the shank being polished, the pieces being welded together, the casting being injected in the mold. Would that be, people would do that?
Oh yeah, I think it would blow them away. But everything that I'm being told by my younger customers is young people don't use email, so we would have to text the link.
Yeah,
they get there's too many emails in their email in their box, so they just don't look at it at all anymore. That's the new reality. But yes, I think that would blow people away. I think they would love to see that. Again, it is such a cool process, and again, being able to offer that to somebody again, I think for the stores that want to succeed and continue to grow and continue to be relevant, you've got to partner with people like Shaw that are also looking to do things differently. They're looking to be out of the box and aren't just relying on a trade show and years of a great reputation, but you're raising the bar. So that makes us look good to be able to go to the consumer and raise the bar. No other store is going to let them do that. So yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that would really excite people.
Okay. Sorry for being late stage.
This can't be the night in the U.S.
Well, sorry that was late stage millennial of me to suggest I am 29 and a half. So I went straight to email. I'll get better.
My son, who's about to be 26, missed an RSVP to something, and he told my brother-in-law, like, why did you email it? He's like, well, because that's what we did. And he goes, nobody reads emails anymore.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Which
Yeah,
isn't
that's
true.
pretty
We
wow, that's a really big number. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's well, regarding your point, I'll press you a little bit on the timing at night because that is going to be this
Yeah.
is again a soft part. This is going to be a tricky part of
Right.
this. We are trying to figure that out, and we may have a way to do it. But in my head, this is where the idea was like maybe the 2 a.m. USA time doesn't matter. Is
Yeah.
not that long ago, I'll stay up till 3 a.m. and watch a meteor shower. Like when they tell us on the like I'll see on Reddit, it's like, oh, there's going to be a meteor shower, in my part of Tennessee or whatever at like 3:12 a.m. or whatever. I don't care about meteors. There's nothing. I mean, it doesn't matter to me at all. That nothing's going to come down and hit my house or whatever. But I will like set an alarm for 3:08 and grovel
Right.
awake or whatever and sit there and go outside and in the cold and have my blanket on top of me and I'll just watch some little lights go like that for 45 seconds and then I'll go back to bed and I'll have generally enjoyed that or whatever and so I am wondering I might be more on board with people. Maybe they might get up at 2 a.m. to see their
I will say, sometimes y'all's progress reports that y'all email where the job is along the lines, sometimes they do have visual, and sometimes they don't. Now, I have at the times when y'all have sent those, and I have happened to click on them in an email because I'm old. If it showed, here's the casting, I have taken that screenshot and sent it to customer and said, hey, just want to let you know, here's where your ring is in the process already. So, it gives me a way to also fulfill their obligations, their expectations, to let them see this is their first thought because they don't want to seem pushy. But if we can stay in touch with them along the line with things like that, again, makes us look good, exposes them to something cool that they've never seen before, but also lets them know you're important. We're thinking about you. Your ring is being handled.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's the
awesome.
opposite of it's I mean that's the intention with with creating those and sending those out, and it's the idea is to turn it into the opposite of like the worst thing about waiting is waiting and not having any idea what's going on, and taking that and turning it into, hey, this is so cool, I get to follow along and I just want to keep doing this. Like that's the idea. And we want that waiting process to be the coolest, most engaging part of the whole process.
Absolutely. And I think, could also anybody that is questioning did I make the right choice, it also
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I remember.
By the way,
go ahead,
No, go ahead.
I was just going to follow up and agree with you completely. When I was in retail, one of the things we hammered on the most, it was the most important thing was that it's so easy to get to the point where you get the customer's money. And if you're good at your job, if the store is good, if the store is pretty, if you have what they are looking for, it's so easy in theory to get to that money taking part. And when they walk out the store, all they have is a piece of paper a lot of times. And just that middle part. and then you text, yay, your ring's ready in like 2 weeks or whatever. And they come in and everything's fine. And then you push them on their way and they go get engaged or whatever. But it's that middle part that no one cares about. And it's just this time bomb of things that can either be, it can be so good and so strong, or it can be really, really bad when the customer calls and it's 3 days before their deadline and they've never had an update and you have to be like, let me call you back. And then it's like 3 hours later and like, it's not confident. It's not a lot of confidence.
Right.
Right. So that middle part, I love that you guys care about that. I'm really happy that you guys are saying that because it's so important. Yeah.
But I was gonna say, by the way, you mentioned the art opening, and I know you're doing the like an art show over the weekend. I remember you guys also did like a music event at a bar
The
I
30th.
believe last year. Yeah, your 30th anniversary celebration. It's so cool. And going back to being engaging, I think that's such a cool way of engaging. It's not just jewelry all the time, but engaging with people that have other interests and having kind of a cross collaboration with music, with beer, with art, with with so many other things that where interests overlap, and kind of engaging with consumers with kind of cross collaborating events like that. Such a cool part of what you guys do.
It's fun for us, and we realized years ago, you can only ask a customer to come to your store so many times to buy stuff, but you can invite them to as many parties as you want. And so we have sort of become more known for. So the one you were referring to was our 30th anniversary. We closed both stores. We're normally open on Sunday. We closed both stores for the day. We rented out a brewery, open bar, lunch, desserts, had a Rolling Stones cover band, and just had a great party where we invited our customers and their families too, and got to hang out with them out of the store. And it's important for us for them to feel that they are part of our Worthmore family. We're not just, hey, come buy stuff. We do want to celebrate with you, things like that. So whether it's an art opening in the store or if we have a designer coming in, we'll often rent out a speakeasy or a restaurant and do a seated dinner with the designer out of the store with nothing to sell. And every time we do one of the restaurant ones with a designer, people are like, well, we want to look at jewelry, we want to buy stuff. And we're like, this isn't a buying event. We're like, this is a social event. And we realized sort of early on how special our customers were and how unique they are. And then we started to see friendships being made from these events of our customers becoming friendly with each other and starting to hang out. So we sort of started with, what, you were invited because we think you're cool, but then we realized not only we think you're cool, y'all think each other are cool, and you have this common love of jewelry and special things. So it really has blossomed into a nice way of doing things. And even when we have designers in and we do one of the restaurant or bar parties, for them, they're so enthralled with our customers because they really get to hang out with them. And again, it lets them tell their story deeper to the customer. And then by the time they come in the store the next day for the designer event, and we don't call them trunk shows because we also realize that customers don't understand. They don't know what a trunk show is unless they're in the fashion business or retail or wholesale. People start being like, well, what is a trunk show? Maybe possibly the younger generation. But so we started calling them designer events. But by the time they come into the designer event, they're lined up because they want to take home a piece of that person they met the night before, at the bar drinking, or at the place eating dinner, all of those things. So again, just a different approach on the way of doing things. It is an investment. We do spend money on it, but it does pay off. It's an investment with returns. And I think that, too many jewelers, retailers tend to look at, I can't spend 5,000 or 10,000 or 1,000 or 500, whatever the amount is. I don't want to buy lunch for 100 people or whatever it is, but I promise you, other people aren't doing it. So you doing it again sets you apart, and it's just fun. You know what? You're going to have it when so-and-so, they're in town. Oh, we had plans that night. We're going to dinner with 2 other couples. And we'll be like, we'll bring them too. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, come by here, have drinks with us before you go out. So it becomes a social thing. And again, people want to do business with people they like. And we all know that. We all get the basic elements of it. So why would you not go above and beyond to be friendly to your clients?
Right. And that's such a strong, dude, honestly, that's the greatest thing. I mean, that's amazing. And I just to hammer that, I mean, the difference between hanging out there, you're just having fun. Our industry is emotional and fun. We use it to celebrate things. We jewel. We do that day to day. Like, we make things important. And I just extending that into all the aspects of the business. Not just we're here in a retail environment selling you things, but we're going to go have dinner. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk philosophies. We're going to show art. I mean, that is that is what the whole industry is supposed to be about. It's really cool to
and
see.
with
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
it's
Right.
just
It has to be real.
as
Well,
has to be real.
authentic.
Yes,
Yeah.
just as any interaction, and they are after the relationship. We're not after making one big sale. We're after the relationship. We want the residuals. And by being honest with people and giving them the proper advice, that's how we're going to get to be real and be honest. And, we've been in business long enough now where we're getting to start to do our clients that we did their engagement ring, we're starting to do their kids' engagement rings now. And it's so gratifying and so special to see that. And, I remember these kids from the minute they were in a baby carrier, and now their parents are bringing them in with them or sending them in to get their engagement ring from us. So I think I forget how special that is. Don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That just is.
to go to your earlier point, like you can't get a lower price for that online. There's no, you can't put a price on that.
Right.
Yeah. Big
Um,
online websites stopping me is not renting out a bar in my town,
Yeah.
a cool bar, and I'm not just going to hang out with them and
Yeah.
chatting and get art together.
Yeah.
Mostly.
So I have a question about your role with JCK. What is you're on the board, I understand, or
I am fortunate enough to be on the JCK show board, which they have a really nice mixture of retailers, of wholesalers, of people from GIA, AGTA, all different associations. JCK does a great job of wanting to hear from everybody that attends the shows, whether it's you guys as manufacturers and suppliers, whether it's the retailer like me, whether it's the whole Hong Kong wing, they're represented. If everybody is represented on the board, and it lets JCK make sure that it keeps them in check, that they're doing a great job, and lets them hear from everybody.
Nice.
I think I'm not sure what I told him, so I think he's clarifying. I can't remember what I told him your role was. I tried to describe it. I think I said you owned JCK or something
Yes,
like that.
yes.
Yeah.
We're working on like an advisory,
Yeah.
and it is nice. And honestly, I've thought often we did have one for the store that we started years ago, and we sort of have neglected it, and gotten away from it. Although we need to get back into it. There's a gentleman in the industry who advises people. His name Philip Bozen. I think I'm giving the right first name, and I need to look it up and correct myself if I'm not. But we attended a seminar of his, and again, we like to still get out there and learn. We know we don't know everything by any means close to it, so we want to hear what other people are doing too. And he was like, "Hey, start an advisory board in your store. Get your best customers." And he said, get all female customers, which we did, and we had a very powerful board to bounce things off of. And I've often thought of, for wholesalers, why don't they do that? Why don't wholesalers get their best retailers together and brainstorm with them and hear, what are the good, what's the bad, what is our competition doing? I mean, how can we improve? How can we be more important? What if we tried letting you log in the middle of the night to watch a stone setter? Is that cool? Would that work? And seeing the feedback immediately. So, we do it sort of through social media. As far as when we're at trade shows, sometimes we can't decide on things. We'll put up polls on social media. Do you like this in white, yellow? Do you like it oxidized? Do you like it with colors? Do you like it diamond? And customers start interacting with that, voting on it, and let us know, we're getting immediate feedback on what to do. So I think there are so many things like that, whether it's JCK's board, there's so many different parts of our industry where they're trying to improve things. Jewelers Mutual and Zing, we're also involved with them now on a board, trying to help with getting new people into the industry, letting them see that our industry has so many highlights and different aspects of areas to work in, whether it's somebody in high school trying to decide they're going to go to a trade school, they're going to go to college, whether it's that person already in our industry but possibly looking to shift gears. These are from, I think our sales rep, if I'm not mistaken, Joseph, was in retail and now is on the other side of the counter in wholesale. Whether it's somebody on a second career later in life but wants to make a change, how do we communicate? So I do think that we're starting to see companies like Jewelers Mutual, like JCK, that does want feedback from everybody, and it does make us all stronger. It makes us all smarter, makes us all better, and just gives us all a chance to learn. And I think, again, that's how we all stay relevant, is learning and trying new things and we're fortunate that we're a small 2-store operation in Georgia. One of our people said years ago, I love it that like y'all, we talk about something in a meeting and we just change it that day. And I'm like, well, I love it into years and then nothing happens. We can try new things. And we're going to constantly try new things to make sure that we're staying relevant.
That's wonderful. And yeah, Joseph, have we talked about having an advisors?
Neil, how do you smile right now while he was saying that? So,
yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Harris,
we've
been.
I've actually been badgering Joseph to get some people, but there's two things. One is advisory, like you said, in general, or kind of overall strategic, new ideas, merchandise, strategies, policies, all this kind of, strengths and weaknesses. Like, we had a conversation earlier about mistakes that we make and how to handle those and how to improve on that. And then there's also like just literally day-to-day stuff, so I would want to have owners, retail store owners, but then also sales associates that are in the trenches on a daily basis.
And then we're fortunate
having, good. Yeah.
What is that?
For us, but both for merchandise, but also for technology that we build, for the process, like you said earlier, the easy button, we strive to build that easy button and make everything easy and getting
see mom's buttons.
getting kind of rapid feedback and making those changes quickly. That makes all the difference. If we can be changing things on a weekly basis and improving things on a weekly, daily, weekly, monthly basis, there's no stopping that.
Absolutely.
Would you guys do something like that? If we could put something together, would you be a part of that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, our people would love it. As you just hit it from your side, it helps y'all to get better. So we get better and again, get easier. We have 2 buttons in the store. One is the easy button. That's the other button.
Neil, it just says fuck. Can I say that on the podcast? Wait a minute. Yeah, we'll have to edit that. JCK's going to cancel.
I was making you say it. I wasn't going to say it,
JCK is going to cancel.
It's on now. We'll have to change the rating.
Yeah.
Quick, super quick, funny story. The first time I walked into your store, Harris, I had been working for Shaw for like maybe a month. Really fresh. And no idea what I was doing. I had no idea. In fact, I looked in your windows and took off my tie before I walked in.
Well, you knew what you were doing then.
But so I walk in. You were actually so nice. You came up and you talked to me. And you're like, "What's new?" or whatever. You made it very, very good. But that's not it. The first time I met Molly. She walked up and we talked for a second. And she was wearing a necklace that said it said fuck you. It said fuck you in gold or whatever, in diamond plated, whatever it was or whatever.
It was just to be specific. That is my daughter, and she does have standards. It just said fuck. It didn't say fuck. She's not impolite.
Yeah. That wasn't very polite of me. Tell her I'll get her an oyster shooter to make up for that. I didn't mean to.
She heard.
We've got so much editing to do. Yeah. In fact, maybe we'll just try this again tomorrow. We just come back tomorrow and do this. We'll just scrap this whole thing. Yeah. But that was my.
She did wear that proudly.
That was my first. That was before I talked to anyone. First interaction with the store. So yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
And now I think at this point, Joseph and Neil and I'm counting Esward Coffee. Let's see. I think you have now done 6 of our people's engagement rings that actually to make
my wedding band.
That is an honor. It is. It always says the most gratifying or the biggest honor that we
Hang
ever
on.
have when a retailer chooses us.
Hang on, Neil. Just to clarify, you're trying to be sweet right now, and their staff's not handling it well. Hang on.
There you go. They walked away. As we say,
Easy,
welcome to
actually.
Worthmore.
Yeah,
We're always
welcome
good to
to
blow
But this
something
is,
up.
yeah, I don't, well,
Yeah.
this is, I mean, I would just say, this is like the second one that we're doing, a second conversation like this that we're having, and this is super fun to have conversations like this. And Joseph and I have been talking for the last year and keep having conversations that are, amazing and kind of just like-minded, resonating with each other, and to be talking with other people now and more people that see, where this industry is going, and to see all these things that we see. It's just the conversation's so much fun, and then doing it as a podcast and publishing this, we're very excited about. And every time we kind of mention this to somebody, whether it's in the industry or even just with friends or random people, they resonated with it too. They're like, "Wow,
Yeah.
it's so cool. I would totally listen to that." And it's just been so much. We're just starting, and it's already been so much fun.
It's great. I appreciate y'all asking us to be part of it, and I will touch real quickly on the technology aspect, which this is sort of technology in our industry. Our industry has been, I think, so far behind in technology for so long, and I think we're still behind, much more advanced than we had been from years. To where we were hand carving every wax, but now it's just progressed so fast in the past few years, and that technology has so many ways to help stores and manufacturers and everybody to increase our business and to be more important and to be more special. It's the increases in technology that I've seen in our industry recently in the past, let's call it 5 years, is probably more than the first 25 years or 30 years. And I think it is really exciting, and it's nice for stores like us to get to work with manufacturers like Shaw that are so technical. Y'all are equal almost technology and jewelry, and that really is pretty rare in our industry because it is so old school, and been doing the same way. So I shouldn't change it. Type mentality, where now people are starting to see all the different things that are possible in the world and how we can do things now remotely and do podcasts. And during COVID, we were doing custom engagement appointments via Skype and Zoom and other calls, and all of those things I think just sort of have helped propel our industry, make us even stronger, make us even better, make us more efficient for sure. But also being able to bring, because let's be real, 95% of probably 98 starting from the ground floor up. So now with the technology that y'all have with our sales team, it really takes it to new heights and gets that customer buy-in, gets that involvement. And we have a very short section on our website about the custom process. Basically, we're like, it's fun. It's not daunting. A lot of people are scared or overwhelmed, or they think, oh my God, this is going to cost a fortune to get a one of a kind. Yeah. And we're like, it's not anymore, because of the processes that are available now. You can design your own piece and be involved with every step of the way. You can furnish it. You can furnish merchandise, parts of it. You can be as involved as you want or as uninvolved as you want. And I think that really has changed our industry so strongly, where, you used to have to rely on somebody who could sketch good at the counter and could carve a good wax and then hope that the customer wouldn't crack the wax putting it on their hand. Now, maybe you could tell me better than me, but I feel like probably 1 out of 100 of our jobs you do, the customer asks for a wax now. Where when I started, every job had a view of wax. But because the CADs are so efficient, again, streamlined, makes it efficient, gives the customer better buy-in, and they realize that there are all these options, that it is fun, and that they can then say, yes, I did design this.
Harris's
Yeah,
answers are so
absolutely.
good.
The technology.
Response for them. They're just really so good. Just amazing answers. I don't even know what to say to that. Yeah, that's perfect. I completely agree. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, same. Likewise. And I will say, thank you for thank you for the kind words. It's a lot of fun to work on and bring the technology into the industry and be able to do that. My brother and I are both very techy, tech geeks or whatever. And I think in this industry, there's an opportunity to be able to do that and really make an impact at an industry level on kind of technology that we utilize and how we utilize it. I hope we can do that, and it's a lot of fun working on it.
It's awesome. It makes it fun for us too, and I guess that's the bottom line. We all work very hard in what we do, no matter what part of this industry you're in. But a lot of us have been doing this for a long time. Some of us not as long as others, but it's just got to stay fun and pushing the envelope and trying new things. And whether it's technology or trying new things in your stores, new events, new web links you can click on, whatever it may be, it's got to stay fun.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, dude, I think that's a great spot to end this. This has been awesome, like literally incredible. So much better than our script just thrown away. Already threw that in the trash.
I think we followed it exactly.
I think you actually somehow pulled every single word off the script and used it in a different way. But it's out there, I think. I did not follow the script, but I think you entered every concept. So yeah, thank you.
All right. As long as we followed, we didn't want Neil and I did not want your hard work to go to waste, guys. We appreciate you.
Dude, I spent like 8 minutes while eating breakfast typing that up. So I was going to be pretty upset.
I could tell. No, I was actually pretty in depth. I was actually sort of shocked, and I was like, oh my God, I don't have time to read this. I got to scan it.
Well, did you like how I sent it to you like 30 minutes before? I could have sent it
like not quite. Maybe 30 minutes before we started the podcast. Yes. Yeah,
30 minutes.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
30 minutes. Yeah. No, you're welcome, dude. I could have sent that to you like 3 weeks ago, but instead I sent it to you 30 minutes. I just wanted it to be organic, like I said 50 times. So and
then what did you do when you sent it to me? What did you do when you sent it?
I did send it on email. Did I send it on email? Yeah.
You sent it on email, but what did you do? You sent me a text saying, "Dude, I just sent you an email."
Oh yeah, and I could have just texted it. All right. Does Apple let you send that?
But it's sort of good to let people know because they've gotten 1,000 emails since the last time they checked. It's crazy.
That's right. I did.
Crazy.
I let them, You're right. That's right. So, all right, guys. Well, we're good. I really appreciate.
All right. So look for our TV show coming to a streaming platform near you soon.
Hey, everyone. We just want to say thank you again for listening and tuning in to the Carrizza podcast, where we talk all things jewelry. We really hope you enjoyed the episode, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks.